right, episode 11, World Cup Digest with your boy Dominic Rich and Football Pharaoh. And as we've done for the entire World Cup, we're back to discuss what happened in the day's results. And of course, we're going to talk about what's coming up tomorrow as well at the back end of the video. How you feeling, bro?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty all right. We had a lot of drama today in the around the 2 o'clock hour. Those last two matches in Game C, and the match day 3 is winding down. We only got 2 more days to go of this, Dom, before
Yep.
the tail end serious business of this tournament starts.
Yep. Today was a pretty dramatic day. Even in Group D, we had a little drama. You know what I'm saying? Could have been a few twists and turns in Group D. And of course, Group C, very, very tense, bro. I was right here. I was sitting right here, and it was so tense because, Mexico could have gone through. Poland, they were hanging on. So, you know what I mean? Just looking at Coach Michnovic, he was like, his head was like exploding because he's like, he can't believe they were losing the game and like they were heading out, and they ended up holding on. But let's talk about Group D first, which was the early set of games. And let's start with the Tunisia-France match. What are your initial thoughts on this? 1-0 to Tunisia, Wabi Kazri in the 58th minute. What are your thoughts?
Bittersweet for Tunisia. Really bittersweet, because even though they won this derby with France, it wasn't enough. They didn't get the result they needed in the Aussie-Denmark game. And I think they were temporarily second in the standings for a few minutes before the other result started to slip away from them.
Yeah.
I think that it's too little too late, because you and I were talking about Wabi Kazri not playing in the last match, right? And he came on here. He scored a really good goal.
Wabi Kazri changed the game. Tunisia looked a lot. He looked a lot different with Wabi Kazri. Like, and you wonder why didn't he play more minutes in the first 2 games? Was he injured? I think he was playing with an injury because after he scored, he came off and he looked really banged up.
Yeah, well, it is unfortunate because it came at a delayed moment here for Tunisia. They also, not just only France that made rotations, Tunisia made about 5 or 6 changes from their last move as well, I noticed. And, for Tunisia to get a result here, at least they'll be able to say forever they beat France in a World Cup. And they exit it now, actually, with their best finish ever in a World Cup with 4 points. But I think for France, I try not to read too much into results like this because, Deschamps fielded guys like Coman and Vertout and on the pitch. But France still have the depth to go and win this game. And the problem that I think with France is, like, I don't let them get off the hook too much with this, is when you have a game in hand and you're already through the next round and you're resting up players and this is a platform to give some of the other guys a chance to make a case for a starting position. And I don't think hardly any of them made a compelling case for that.
Yeah, so, that's true.
Yeah. How about you? What do you feel?
Well, this is how I really felt initially, right? But before I do let you know how I feel, there is an insight here that let us know that France were beaten in a World Cup match for the first time since the 2014 quarterfinal, right? But they have not. Look here, they have now gone without a win in their final group game in each of the last 4 World Cup tournaments, drawing 2 and losing 2 while failing to score. And I think in the last 4 World Cup tournaments, well, you got to factor in now 2010, they got knocked out. But 2014, what did France do in 2014? Can't even remember.
They drew with Ecuador on the final day, I think.
No, but I mean, how far did they get? They didn't get too far, though.
Quarters.
Yeah. So we've got to, learn to expect that France are a type of team that on the final day, they're in such a good position that they rotate. But still, when you think about it, I think Deschamps could have put out a stronger team than he did. And what he could have done was he could have said, okay, for the guys who didn't play yet, let's start some and then let's bring some off the bench, but put out a strong enough team. Because it didn't make sense bringing on Mbappe and Griezmann and Dembele for what? So that they could get an injury.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because first of all, you should have never played this weakened team against Tunisia. And it made me think, what, are you trying to do Tunisia some type of favor or something by, playing a weaker team? And then because you go behind, you want to make it look good by bringing on Mbappe and Griezmann when you know it would have been difficult. You see what I mean? But I don't think that's what actually happened. But I'm just saying, if you really look into it, it could seem that way. But kudos to Tunisia for holding on. Griezmann did score, and I did read something that France are looking into, like the offside. But look, you can't beat the technology. That is what I told you when you messaged me about offsides. Look, the technology is there. It's hard to argue against it now. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But look, Tunisia, they left it too late. They should have done better against Australia.
Yeah.
They screwed up in that game, and they made to pay right now. You know what I mean? And it's a little too late. When Wabi Kazri scored, they were actually going through, and then like that, Matthew Leckie scored.
Lucky, yeah.
So it was swinging. But there was a situation where if Denmark had equalized, it would have been Tunisia going through. So and that never happened.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about Deschamps playing Camavinga at left back? Because I have mixed feelings on that.
I think he just give everybody a game, with the exception of Alphonse Areola, by the way. He's the only one who didn't get a game. And I think Mandanda was horrible on the day. Absolutely horrible. You know what I mean? He made some poor decisions. When the goal was scored, he didn't need to come off his line at all. The Disasi, the debutant, he rushed in, and you know what I mean? They just didn't look good. It was a disjointed effort, no fluency, no cohesiveness, because they just put together a team and say, go out and just get some minutes under your belt for the next round, pretty much.
I think for the most part, I can understand a decision like that. To put Camavinga in there, because France at the moment, in my view, they don't really have another defender with a good left foot available in that spot, maybe except Theo Hernandez.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think they could have put out a better squad here. And I understand. Like, you have the luxury of being through no matter what. You rest some players up for the knockout rounds. But it's really Tunisia's fault in the end. They lost control of this group in the previous game against the Aussies.
Yep. So look,
yeah, they leave with their heads held high, though, at least.
Yeah, exactly. But look, just before we move on to the next game, France, they play Poland in the next round, and I think they definitely will be looking forward to that clash, because Poland are very defensive. France would get to play with the ball and do their thing and try to break down Poland, and they might get a lot of success doing so. So that's going to be an interesting clash. But I think they do have a very, very kind draw in the round of 16 there.
Yeah, they basically have a not very trying path to the quarters.
Exactly.
But they're considering how much Denmark were poor in this group.
And the thing too, France will play the winner of England, Senegal, and on the other side of the bracket, they right now it seems as if France are going to be able to avoid Argentina and Brazil on that side. You know what I'm saying?
Argentina, Brazil, the Netherlands, possibly Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, Spain is on the other side. Will most likely be on the other side as well. While the only team that might be able to come in their way, maybe it might be Germany. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, just a little maybe there. So give it up to France. They look, I won't be surprised if this team goes on to defend their title at all. I really won't.
No, I won't be either. They certainly have the team to do it. And we said the same thing about previous world champions, but if anyone can do it this time, it is France. I
Yep.
mean,
So look, let's talk about this big kangaroo in the room, and
you see my username.
yeah, I do. Elephant in the room, kangaroo in the room. Look, I think you called it. You called it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Denmark, man. This team looks horrible.
bro.
This team basically. I look. That was not Denmark. That was the Faroe Islands.
Yeah, they got a bunch of fishermen from the Faroe Islands and sent them to this World Cup.
Exactly. It can't be Denmark.
No, yeah, they fell off the face of the earth, and I think so far they've been my biggest disappointment of this entire World Cup. I had them going very far in my predictions, and they just totally didn't come together, capitulated, and they finished bottom of this group with 1 point. They look so bad.
Bro,
And
I don't know who looks worse. Whether it's yeah, it has to be Denmark. But Belgium and Denmark are in the same boat to me right now. They look bad, both of them. Teams that we had high hopes of, basically.
yeah, for sure. And I'm still processing it. I don't really quite know what to make of why this happened. It could just be that after faltering to Tunisia in that opener, they just never hit the ground running, or maybe they were still riding on that high from the Nations League. They thought, oh yeah, we beat France twice. We're going to come into this. We're going to go make a case for another deep run. So this is one of the worst performances of a Danish team at the World Cup. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what went wrong here. What do you think?
Bro, it just never showed up, man.
Yeah,
Just never showed up. Maybe this is one of the teams affected by the mid-season World Cup as well. It could be that. Could be things just didn't work, man. Sometimes a good team that you expect to do well just does not do well, and it happens. One of the good teams, one, two, three, or four of the good teams must drop out, and unfortunately, Denmark are one of those teams. You know what I'm saying? We still have a few more good teams that could drop out. It could be Germany, it could be Belgium that could drop. It could be Croatia as well.
yeah,
Some of the good teams that's left that could miss out on the next round. But they always gotta be that team that fall out that you'd be like, wow, never expected that. They just got it wrong. They just up top is especially where they got it wrong. Nothing up top.
no,
And in the midfield, they had absolutely no creativity as well. Ericsson absent, you know what I'm saying? No one else really put up their hand to create. Because if you have the forwards and you say the forwards are not delivering, but they're not getting any service, you see? So
yeah,
a rethink is needed.
yeah. I agree that this is not necessarily indicative that they're in a downward um, run of form. It's just they didn't turn up for this tournament, and in a group containing two teams on paper that they just, let's be honest, they're better than. I still think
Exactly.
when Denmark is halfway decent, which they weren't even close to that, they get 6 points from this group from Tunisia and Australia. I mean, it's a far cry away from what we saw in qualification, and certainly from what we saw in the European Championship. But do you think Hillman will lose his job after this?
I don't think they panic. They shouldn't panic. But at the same time, you have to remember, right? Age Hirada only lost 3 times. 3 times, bro. And that was a long period. That was over a good period of time. And he lost 3 times. So basically, this Danish team, over the last, let's say, it has to be about 6 years, have not lost a lot of games, and to come to the World Cup and play so badly is just weird, man. It's just weird. They just didn't have that vibe going for them, man. You know what I mean? And Australia, they played with a lot of togetherness and a lot of heart, a lot of fight. This team isn't stylish, but they have a few players that got a little magic in them, like a Lecky. We
Oh yeah,
saw Mitchell Duke. The man plays in a second division of Japanese football, and look at what he did. You know what I mean? You have Goodwin on the left. But you got to give it to Graham Arnold. Tactically, the man keep changing up his right back to suit the team, the opponent. First game, bam. His right back got ran ragged by Kylian Mbappe. He took him off, brought on Karacic. Okay, got the job done against Tunisia with Karacic. Okay, now Karacic, you come off. I need a more defensive midfielder, defender, and he brought on Degenek. So it's like you got to give him a lot of credit. When we thought that he would have gone for Mabil or Hutstich, he didn't. You see what I'm saying? He stuck to his guns, and the guys back him up, man. If you check the lineup really, really quick, you got to give Aaron Moy, man. He's been oh, man. Aaron Moy, Harry Suter,
Matty Ryan,
Rouse at the back, Aziz Behich.
Matty Ryan today in goal. He had a couple. He came off his line, made a lot of really great decisions to get that ball out, to collect the ball from the little attacking threat that Denmark did produce in that first half. I mean, the team came up. I think the reason they got 2 wins from this, 2 1-0 score lines after that thumping they got from France, is this team. They kind of remind me of a 2000s U.S. side. There's not much talent, but they have grit, I think.
Yeah. That's what it is about the team. But that Lecky goal is world class, man. The way they ran from got the ball down while they were in their own. Denmark overcommitted big time. Everyone was up high line into the Australian half, and Australia got in behind, and skillfully Lecky, kept that ball and put it past Kasper Schmeichel, man. But I think what's really worked out for Australia is those guys at the back. Harry Suter, man. This guy was injured for a year, and these guys have been so repellent at the back. So you got to give him a lot of credit. And they have a few neat guys to come off the bench, like Keanu Bacchus came off the bench today. He looked good. You know what I'm saying? Hugh Stitch came on, Bailey Wright. So he used his team very well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got to give him a lot of credit.
And you and I were giving Harry Suter a lot of credit in the last match as well, because he came up big against Tunisia, his defensive display. And I think for Australia, I mean, going forward, who they're playing, Argentina, that's going to be tough. But 6 points for them, I think, is well above the expectation they even had for this group. I mean, first time since 2006, they're out of the first round. And they were the team who capitalized on Denmark just not showing up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think that Australia, at the end of the day, were a little bit lucky to be in a group like this?
Any group that they were in were going to be it was going to be a hard group. You know what I'm saying? But we know Australia likes to do things the hard way, and they did it again. And Denmark threw the kitchen sink at them, man. It's like Denmark went into Home Depot and just buy every kitchen sink in there and said, "Here, take that. Look at that. Dolberg, Damsgaard, Cornelius, Skov." You see what I'm saying? And look at the players that were still on the field. Lindstrom, Eriksson.
Yeah.
So they tried. They really tried. Just couldn't break down Australia. They were impregnable. You check the stats. 13 shots, 3 on target. They had most of the ball. Denmark had most of the ball. Australia were dogged. They were tenacious, and they deserved the win. You know what I'm saying? Denmark deserved absolutely nothing. They looked toothless on the day.
I thought in the first 20 to 25 minutes, there were moments that they had good spells of form where they were getting in behind Australia's back line, but they just, like you said, they couldn't convert their opportunities. But after that, they fell off by the wayside. And as Australia grew into the game, Denmark, they played high towards midway through the second half because they had to come out and they had to go for it. And Australia punished them for it in a way that, yesterday Iran did not punish the United States in doing on the when they went on the counter. So they played into Australia's hands for the last half hour of this match. And I mean, hey, it's credit. I mean, they're looking like, honestly, dude, like I was looking at match days that we've had so far, match day 3, as well as like the last few match days of match day 2. Australia could be the only AFC team that gets out of the first round.
Yeah,
They could be the only
Yeah,
one.
Japan and South Korea are the only ones left, and they're not looking good for those teams at all. So give it up to Australia, man. And with that being said, they would face Argentina. That's gonna be tough. But listen, man, this is the World Cup. You can't write out. You can't write off anybody. You
No,
can't. We get to learn that you can't write off anybody, man. You know what I mean?
no, you can't.
And yeah, you can't. You can't. So
And Australia,
mm,
Argentina sometimes struggle with teams like Australia that dig in deep and show that like that grit in that fight. You know,
exactly,
so
man. Could you imagine the scenes if Australia beat Argentina?
oh man,
God damn, they'll believe they could win the World Cup then. So look, we're gonna move on, man. You know, took a long time on that, but it's cool. It's cool. Let's start Group C. Let's
Mm,
start with Poland, Argentina. Alexis McAllister, 46 minute, immediately after the first half kickoff. The first play in the second half, Alexis McAllister scored, cut back, smashed into the back of the net, and Argentina advantage. And then my boy, my player, Julian Alvarez, in the 67th minute to score an emphatic goal. I don't know what it is with Julian Alvarez, though. I don't know if he just grew up mirroring his game on Sergio Aguero or something to just score spectacular goals every time. I don't know if you realize that. Every time he scores, it's like it has to be that spectacular goal that hits the roof of the net or going at the near post or flick over the key. Always, man. And remember yesterday, I called for this dude to get picked.
you
Drop
did.
Taro, bring him in. I called for Enzo Fernandez. I called for Molina and all those guys. I don't know if Scaloni probably watched my preview or something, but he did exactly that. He brought the guys in, but Rodrigo De Paul, he stayed in. He had a better game. He definitely had a better game. Messi was doing his thing. I think the Julian Alvarez goal, there was 27 passes in the build-up as well. Cut apart the defense. And of course, not to forget that dubious penalty that was given to Messi and Wojciech Szczesny saved what is his second penalty save this World Cup. I think Szczesny is the keeper of the tournament so far, but he would need Poland to move like at least in the quarters if he is to win the best keeper award.
Yeah, I think yeah. I saw the lineup selection before the match started, and I saw Alvarez in there. I'm like, yep, Dom called it, and I was glad to see Enzo Fernandez there because I was mentioning last night I wanted to see him get a starting spot because of how clutch he was in that first match and that match against Mexico. Yeah, Szczesny, ball don't lie moment. I didn't like the call in the box as well. I thought it was
me too.
pretty soft. And Poland, we're riding a little bit high after that save because they were neutralizing Argentina, like they were shutting down. Because that was the approach. Let's be honest, that was the approach from the very beginning.
But that's the approach Poland's been taking in every game.
Yes, and it's yes, exactly, and it's been a very effective. And we knew that's what they were going to do here because, like, why change what's already worked? And it's funny that you mentioned Minishkowicz's like reaction to the second half because you remember when Argentina, when Alvarez scored and they went 2-0 up. That was just moments after we got news of Mexico finding their second goal, and the camera went over to the sideline and it showed Minishkowicz and he had his glasses off and he was like this.
Yep.
It was like the last 20 minutes are going to be intense. It was the look of, oh my God, we're going to screw this up, aren't we?
Especially because Mexico were winning their game by 2-0 and all Argentina needed to do was score again, or Mexico score again, and Poland were out. So Poland got a bit lucky there with the way everything just aligned for them, And with that being said, no need to spend super long on this game, but Alexis McAllister was adjudged Budweiser man of the match, and I don't understand how you could have a Budweiser man of the match when there's no liquor served, So
yeah, that's weird.
It's very weird, but it is what it is, though. But
they could, but the thing is, like, not only that penalty save, but Szczesny came up big. Argentina could have had 3, 4, 5 goals.
Exactly, Szczesny. Look, Szczesny, right? Szczesny had made Argentina had 14 shots to Poland's 1 in the first half. Szczesny saved about 9 of those.
Ridiculous.
So he kept Poland at the World Cup. Szczesny. not Robert Lewandowski. Szczesny has been Poland's best player so far. So give it up to him, man. Give it up to him. He's been around a while. And Poland, they put up a good fight, but they were always going to lose this game. I got this prediction exactly right, too. And remember towards the end of the game when Tagliafico's chip was actually touched by Szczesny and Kiwior saved it off the line. Poland were going out if that ball went in. So they did what they had to do, man. They did what they had to do, but it's going to be very difficult coming up against France. It would take a miracle for them to beat France actually playing like this,
Yeah, I think they're going to adopt the same exact game plan against France even more so. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think the slowness of Poland's center backs can deal with Mbappe at all.
Yeah.
Here's a prediction. That match is going to have a penalty award to France.
What about, you remember when Di Maria almost scored that Olympico in the first half? That Szczesny saved as well. So, it was a dominant performance. Alvarez had a shot saved by Szczesny as well. A very good one.
I think Poland had one great opportunity to pull one back. It was when there was a lob into the box, and I think Glick got on his head to it.
Yeah. Glick, he headed it wide. I have that written on 49th minute.
That was a good head. If he gets it on target, I think Martinez is beat. I think that's in the back of the net. It was not that bad of a taken header. I mean, that would have alleviated so much pressure off of Poland. Bro, let me tell you, I'm a neutral. These two games, I was switching back and forth between Fox Sports and Fox Sports 1, like Fox and Fox. Like, it was so intense, and you could see.
I actually had two devices. What's the other device, bro? Why are you not watching on one phone, one on your phone and on your TV or something?
I was home when this happened, so like.
No, I mean, you could watch on your phone and watch on the TV at the same time.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think about it at the time. I was just like too intent, like switching. But like the thing is,
yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow.
You switch. When you switch, you're gonna miss things unless you just focusing on one game and you say, "Yeah, forget about that other game. I'm just focusing on this game."
Do you remember? And we had the same drama 4 years ago. They were showing like scenes from the crowd, the Polish crowd, and they were all looking at their phones at like the results in the other game. And people were like praying. There were people like praying in the stands and everything.
Yeah, I remember for the Tunisia game, the Tunisian players actually had some device they were looking at the other game while they were playing, and you could see when when Australia had scored. It was just dejection, amongst the whole Tunisian team because they knew what was going on. So yeah, it could get pretty tense when you have these games being played at the same time, and thank God they changed it to this because it would have been a lot of collusion, man. So look, with that being said, Poland take on France, Argentina take on Australia, and it looks like Argentina, they get a kind team, you never know. But Poland, it would take a lot for them to beat France. Look, the last game, man, before we land the plane, Mexico 2, Saudi Arabia 1. I predicted Saudi Arabia to beat Mexico, but again, they didn't really show up. Henry Martin scored Mexico's first goal of the World Cup. Luis Chavez with one of the goals of the tournament. He's their breakout player, in my opinion, with that free kick in the 52nd minute. And of course, man, of course, Salim Al-Dassari had to score. He had to score. And brilliant goal. Kept his nerve. Pulled one back for Saudi Arabia. He now has 3 World Cup goals. More World Cup goals than Wayne Rooney.
That's funny.
So, look, man.
I'm pretty sure I have more World Cup goals than Wayne Rooney at this point.
So, look, how you feel about Mexico bowing out in the group phase for the first time since 1978? Tata Martino, not a very good thing on your resume at all. And I was looking through some articles and thing. Tata said that he is effectively no longer Mexico's manager as soon as they got knocked out. So
yeah. So what do I think about like the streak ending or just
Mexico flopping basically at the World Cup when most people thought they would go through?
It's a failure. I mean, it's a failure for not just Tata to have that on his resume, like you said, but for the federation. And I think it's a wake up call. I think it's a wake up call because Mexico has been floundering for about 2.5, 3 years now. They didn't look very convincing in qualifiers. We got the best of them in a couple of cup finals and in regional tournaments. Some of the really strange roster selections for this tournament, leaving out a lot of young players. And it just felt like the whole year there was like a bad vibes heading into this competition. We knew they were struggling to score goals.
A funk, as you like to say.
Yeah, I mean, really, there was a funk, and it carried over into the World Cup. And I think it's unfortunate because, like, 7 World Cups in a row, the only other country that had that of always progressing past the group stages was Brazil. Only Brazil and Mexico. No European country. For a CONCACAF team from Mexico to have that, I feel kind of sad for them because it's a piece of history that's just gone now. It's done. It's over. The streak is done. For a lot of Mexican soccer fans, this is the first time in their lifetime Mexico's never made it past. So this is the worst result as far as they know in their lifetime. And I think it was totally preventable because the second half of this game, Saudi Arabia did not know what hit them. Yeah. I saw the expressions on the players' face when Mexico was wrapping up that intensity on them. They were like shell shocked what was going on, especially when Mexico grabbed that second goal through Chavez's free kick, which, by the way, I think that's the best free kick goal of the tournament so far. I literally screamed. I screamed.
I still think the Richarlison goal is the best goal of the tournament, but it's okay. It's Richarlison's goal, Chavez's goal, and then of course the Rashford free kick is up there too, you know.
Yeah. Well, I thought Mexico were going to pull this out, man, because as soon as they scored the second one, I was like, yeah, no, Saudi Arabia is eliminated. Because even if they pull one back, which was always a risk because Mexico had no choice but to go at them because they couldn't rely on Argentina. They were running roughshod all over Saudi, and those 2 goals, they got 2 more that were ruled offside.
Yeah.
And the second one was like his elbow was off, I think it was. I forgot who it was. And it's just really unfortunate because this is what happens when you leave it late. And I said this when you and I were talking about the Argentina-Mexico game 4 days ago. I said the second goal Mexico conceded to Argentina, that could end up proving costly.
Exactly.
They wouldn't have needed that third one if after going behind Argentina 1-0, they had just said, okay, let's just sit back and like ride this out. But we'll take the L.
Yeah, take the 1-0 L. Yeah.
But like, yeah.
But when you're in the moment, you don't think like that. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. And that game against Argentina, you had 2 moments of brilliance between Messi and Fernandez. But But in this match, it's frustrating even as a neutral because the way Mexico played the second half of this third game, they played like the second best team in this group.
Yep. I thought they were going to pull it off, but
I did too. I was like, they're going to fucking do this.
Yeah, but just give Saudi Arabia a bit of credit too because they didn't come and lay down and get beaten. Give him a lot of. I give Saudi. They had some good moments. You know what I mean? Saad Abdul Hamid, he looked good. Mohamed Kano, I think he had hit the woodwork in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Owais had a good save.
Owais was all over the place. He had some bad moments, some sketchy punches, but he pulled off some good saves during the game. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he did.
Credit to Saudi Arabia because if you check the stats really quick, you could see that Mexico had 26 shots at goal. Like you have to score more than 2. So they got themselves to blame. That's where they failed at the World Cup. Their goal scoring ability. They didn't score any against Poland, none against Argentina. And if they had, they would have actually gone through ahead of Poland. But they just, Yeah. And the other thing, big talking point too, the whole situation where Poland were actually going through on fair play points too.
Yes.
Oh boy. Wow.
2 goals each, goal difference neutral. I think Poland had 5 yellow cards. Mexico had 7.
Yeah.
I was watching. I was like, oh, man. Yeah.
So with Saudi Arabia scoring, it just put that to bed, and Poland went through. But look at the Mexico stats. This is how the stats should have been looking all World Cup, and it haven't looked like that.
Well, you know what's interesting? When Saudi Arabia scored in stoppage time, it actually didn't change anything because one more goal from Mexico would have put them through because the tiebreak.
No, the thing is, right? I think it changed. It changed. It look. You see, it changed the goal difference for Mexico in favor for Poland.
Right.
What it did was actually it was better for Mexico then because if they had replied, then they would have got the same goal difference, but they would have gone through on goals for.
Yep.
But they didn't manage to do that. So it is what it is, man. Bye-bye, Mexico. The only hope for CONCACAF now is the U.S. and Costa Rica tomorrow. Let's find out if Costa Rica actually able to pull it off, which is crazy. Which brings us to the tomorrow matches, right? As we land the plane on the episode. Tomorrow, we got Group E and F action. Quick. Croatia, Belgium.
Part of me thinks Belgium will shit also win, but I have to stick with my pre-tournament predictions of them crashing. There has to be a big team that crashes out.
Yeah.
I think Croatia wins this. I'm going to say 2-1.
I'm going for a draw. Croatia go through with a draw. Belgium go up to 4 points. Hope for Canada to do them a favor. Canada, Morocco.
This is a bit of a curveball. I actually think Canada's going to win this match. I mean, but Morocco will still go through because Belgium loses. I actually think Canada will get a win here. I have a 2-1 win for Canada.
I have a win for Morocco, 1-0. Canada not winning the game. Canada are either going to rotate heavily or not rotate, and the same approach happens where they out of the blocks fast, do well, and then Morocco probably sucker punch them. But this Morocco team, you got to remember, are yet to concede under Walid Regragui. And I don't think they're going to do so on the Canada. Canada's backline does not look good, like they could handle or withstand anything whatsoever. So I can't see them beating Morocco.
So basically, you and I, we both have Croatia and Morocco going through, just different results.
Yeah.
To be clear, I still think Morocco is going to advance.
But I have Morocco top in the group, though.
Okay.
But note, I didn't predict Morocco to go through initially.
I did. Hopefully.
Japan, Spain.
I think Japan's going to take the lead and Spain will come back and win 2-1.
I think what's my prediction for this, man?
I have 3 2-1s. I didn't know.
I'm actually yet to do this preview, officially do it, but I have it written out. I have 3-1 to Spain.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think Japan's World Cup. When they lost to Costa Rica, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and maybe they'll prove me wrong. I thought their World Cup ended when they lost to Costa Rica.
Just for some, a little tidbit, right? Do you know that Gavi's name is Pablo Gavira?
No, I don't. I didn't.
Let me tell you something else that you don't know. Do you know Pedri's name is Pedro Lopez?
I did hear about that.
Yeah, these are just little nicknames that they got. Pedri and Gavi. It's cool. The nice names though.
Yeah.
These guys are the future, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how old is Pedri now?
These guys are like 20 and 8, 7. Gavi was like 17 the other day. He's probably like 18 these days.
That's
which is ridiculous. Look, Costa Rica, Germany. Oh man.
I need Costa Rica get a draw for the memes. But
let me know the stat you were gonna share with me earlier.
Yeah. I think Germany's gonna win this 3-0. And the stat is the highest number of goals a team has conceded in their World Cup opener in a loss, but that team ended up still advancing. It's only 4 goals, a 4-goal margin, and that was Ukraine in 2006. They lost their opener to Spain 4-0, and they ended up still advancing from their group. No team has ever advanced when losing their first match in the World Cup by greater than 4 goals. And Costa Rica lost by 7 to Spain. Yeah. So I think Germany's going to win this 3-0. I'm just wondering how long it will take to break Costa Rica. I think Costa Rica will actually put up a much more resilient defensive fight than they get against Spain. It's just too much to ask in the end, and I'm going to leave it at that. 3-0 Germany.
Yeah. I got Germany winning, but I haven't yet made predictions. I haven't written down my predictions officially. I'm still working on that preview, by the way.
Yeah.
Just multitasking over here as usual. You know what I mean?
Japan screwed themselves over.
Yeah, they did. So look, we do have games coming up on Friday, the last of the group stage matches. South Korea, Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay in a big one, Serbia, Switzerland, another massive one, and Cameroon will look to beat Brazil. Very unlikely. But look, bro, was another fun one. Don't do this again tomorrow. Let's conserve the energy. Let's not go 1 hour today.
No. All right.
It was fun, guys. Let us know your thoughts. Thanks for the continued support on the series that we have going on. 11 episodes. And I did some, planning. And if we continue like this until the end of the World Cup, guys, you'll end up having 29 episodes. And we are not just promising you, we are going to deliver. After the World Cup, we plan to continue this series, talking international football, future tournaments and all of that, maybe fantasy tournaments as well. I don't want to talk it up and we don't deliver. So, let me not show my hand. Let me not show our hand too much.
Don't spoil the fun.
Exactly. Take it away, bro. Take it away.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on again for episode 11. And hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll be back again tomorrow night. You can find me on Twitter at Football Pharaoh at Soccer Pharaoh. That's at soccer_Pharaoh. You can find my YouTube channel in the link in the description box below. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon, God willing. Peace.
Peace.